guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, as you know, Pete and I have been focusing our attention a lot in the Tuscany area. And when you think of Tuscany, you automatically think of Under the Tuscan Sun, which is one of all of our favorite books. And you think of Cortona, which is a little town up there. And it's where the movie Under the Tuscan Sun was filmed. And in fact, Villa Bramasole is still up there. And apparently it's a tourist attraction now, which I was surprised at. I thought the author was still living there. In any case, I thought poking around the historic center here, I'd see what's available and what the prices were like, because I just assumed they were ruinously expensive. And I was pretty much surprised that they weren't. Now, this house that we're looking at here is 245 square meters, which is actually almost 2,500 square feet. And it's right there within the walls of Cortona. So it's in the historic center. And it's in an apartment building, which is historic and dates back to the 1400s. It looks like a very beautiful palazzo. And of course, it's very old. But when you look at it, like we come in the front door here, and we've got this beautiful soggiorno here. Soggiorno meaning living area. And oh my gosh, look at the furnishings. They really are very pretty. And they look to be older. Now, I'm no furniture expert, but Antonello has schooled me a lot on furniture. He is our expert architect in Santa Domenica Talao, and his dad was a master furniture maker, so he knows all about it. Really nice. I could be mistaken, but look at those beams and look at those light fixtures, and the windows are quite large. You can see that the windows are wood windows that were probably put in maybe in the 60s or 70s. I would change them out because the windows they have now are much more solid, and they are soundproof, and they're also very good at keeping rooms heated or cool. And look at this view, you guys. Oh my goodness. Now that view right there is $1 million view. That is your Tuscan view that you look for, with the rolling hills and the sunset and everything else. Now I'm looking at the downtown area in the historic town of Cortona. And gosh darn if Cortona doesn't look a lot like the little town that we saw near Florence called Palazzo. And Palazzo had very similar architecture, so I would assume they date back to around the same time. Big clock tower, beautiful church and everything else. And in fact, certain parts of Florence have these type of architecture as well. So I would imagine they're all around the same time period. This must be a shot of the building itself. It looks like it could be a very old palazzo. It's very nice. Now here's one of the rooms in there. It looks to be like a small dining room. I don't know. There's apparently 8 rooms in the whole house. I don't know what that means. I don't think it's 8 bedrooms. But this looks like it could be a little studio or den, or possibly a single bedroom. And here's a picture of one of the bedrooms. It looks to be relatively good sized. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is sometimes the rooms are a little bit smaller because of the heating situation. It's very expensive to heat up large rooms. So these bedrooms are not as big as some of the more modern ones that I've seen. But again, there's a lot of big furniture in there, and it's very beautiful furniture. Now in this picture here, you can see that you've got sort of buttresses on the ceiling, which are interesting architectural designs. Here's another room, which could be anything. And here's the kitchen. So let's talk a little bit about the kitchen. This one is very tight. And one of the things about old Italian kitchens is a lot of them are very galley-style kitchens, very tight, not super comfy, especially in these palazzi, because the nobility that lived there did not cook. The cooking went to maids or cooks or whatever, and the facilities weren't super lush because the people that owned the palazzo probably never went into the kitchen. They didn't care what it looked like. All they cared was that the food came out. So these kitchens are relatively modest. This one is extremely tight. And a lot of it was to keep the heat and the smells from going into the rest of the house. Now here's a shot of the entry. You'll see that they've got these 1970 sort of, not super high-end doors in there to seal off the spaces. The reason they did that, a lot of these places, you're going to find that the rooms are sort of walled off, even if they could be opened up. And the reason for that is for heating and for keeping it cool. Now look at this staircase, you guys. It's absolutely stunning. It looks to me like it's got some green marble and some marble going up the stairs. It's a beautiful architectural feature. And here looks to be a den or something looking out to the staircase in the entry. It's a beautiful shot. I really like that you can see through the door, and you've got that gorgeous entry with the vaulted ceiling. It's very, very pretty. Here's another funny little room. You can see by looking at this picture and some of the others, there's some love that needs to happen on this. And in fact, in one of the earlier pictures, I saw a crack that I would definitely have looked at with an architect, because you never know. Now, in the whole entire 2,500 square feet of this place, there is one bathroom. And that's kind of normal. I don't see a whole plethora of bathrooms in these Italian houses. You have to put them in. This one, actually, I kind of like it. I mean, yeah, it's very dated. Of course, it's very dated. Probably not super comfy and everything else. But I like this big square tub here. And I kind of like these funny brown tiles. I think they're kind of interesting looking. Of course, that said, I would swap it all out and redo it. But it's kind of cool looking. Now, this particular house has a garage and some tavernas downstairs, which are very handy to have, especially when you're in a historic center that gets tourist traffic, because sometimes parking can be a little hard to find when a lot of tourists arrive. So you got your own garage here. This one here is listed at $299,000. Now, of course, there's going to have to be some love that occurs. The place looks in relatively good shape. But again, there's that one crack that I would have assessed. And it looks like any sort of renovation that occurred probably occurred back in the 60s. So yeah, that's, 60 years ago? Holy cow, long time. And you probably have to redo some electrics. You have to look at the plumbing and make sure that's up and going. And then either swap out the stuff that's in there or just update it a little bit, and it could be very, very pretty. I would work hard to keep the traditional charm of these. I don't know that I would swap out too many of the floors. I don't like the marble chip tiles. Those date back to the 60s. They're not very important architecturally speaking. But certain other aspects of this place I would definitely work to keep. So there you go, guys. That could be a really cool project. Looks like you could move in right away. It's probably habitable, but a little bit of work, and it could be really, really pretty. And the entry price on this is $299. I'm going to put a link down below to the listing. Again, I don't have any connection with any of these guys here. I was just poking around on Idealista. So there you go. Maybe Cortona is not out of the realm of possibility for anybody. Take a look. Thanks, guys.